everyone. What's up? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast. This is show number 27, and I am pumped that you are here today because today we're delving into a world that I knew very little about before this interview with Jim Williams from WaveMAX. We are delving into the world of laundromat franchises. And I get asked this question all the time about, is it worth it to do laundromat franchises? Should you do it? Shouldn't you do it? What are the pros? What are the cons? Who is it for? I asked Jim all of these questions today and more. And even if franchising is not what you are excited about, it's not what you're doing, or maybe you already own some and you're not looking to buy a franchise, there is a ton of value today with Jim. He brings a lot of wisdom. And in fact, one of the things that I really loved about this episode is we talked a lot about technology in the industry right now. And obviously, if you're using a franchise model, technology plays a huge role in that. And I think technology is one of those things that is making franchising a little more accessible, a little more possible in our industry. So we talk a lot about technology in a way that I think will benefit everyone. So make sure you tune into this one and you're not going to want to miss it. I wanted to point out T. Donnelly on the forums this week. He had an interesting thing that he did that I thought would benefit some of you guys. He went out and did a direct mail marketing campaign for laundromats for sale in his area. And he got such a great response that he has more leads of laundromat owners who want to sell than he knows what to do with. And he's trying to figure out if there's a way to, spread the wealth in a way that kind of benefits him also, similar to like wholesaling or something. And if that is something that you know something about, or maybe you want to connect up with him because you're looking for a laundromat, hey, head over to the forums, go help T. Donnelly out and give him some of your wisdom. Also, if you're brand new around here, you got to go to laundromatresource.com/forums. Again, link is in the show notes, or if you're on YouTube, description below. Go introduce yourself. We're growing by like 8 to 10 people every single day, growing like weeds right now. It's been very, very cool to see. But man, we got to start getting to know each other because that's where the real power is. So head over to those introduction forums, click on it, introduce yourself, let people know who you are, and where you're at in your journey, and then go say hi to someone else who's already done that. Just so cool to get to know people. It's one of my favorite things of what I'm doing here. And I want you to be a part of that. So man, today's episode is awesome. The last few episodes have been incredible. If you haven't listened to those yet, go back and check them out. And I already have lined up and recorded the next couple episodes, and they also are mind blowing. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you subscribe, whether you're on a podcast player, you're on YouTube, whatever the case may be, make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss this. There's tons of value coming your way. And speaking of which, let's just get into it right now.
In today's world, if your laundromat is not online, you're losing business. Customers increasingly decide who to trust with their laundry by the quality of your web presence. But creating a professional logo and website that instills trust in potential customers and can be found on page 1 of Google can be difficult to create on your own and expensive to purchase through a traditional marketing company. As part of our mission to help laundromat owners succeed and find financial freedom through laundromat ownership, we are launching our done-for-you marketing service tailored specifically for laundromats. After ranking number 1 on Google with our own laundromat website and consulting with many others to help them do the same, we guarantee that we can build you a professional website that ranks on page 1 of Google within 6 months. Our joint expertise in the laundry industry and over 15 combined years in website design and online marketing allow us to offer affordable, transparent pricing for a high-quality web presence for your laundromats. You invest so much into providing your customers a quality laundry experience. Don't let anyone miss out on what you have to offer simply because they can't find you online. Let Laundromat Resource Marketing take care of your online presence so you can take care of your customers. Visit laundromatresource.com/getonline today for more information. That's laundromatresource.com/getonline, or click on the link in the description.
Well, hey, Jim, thanks for coming on the show today. How you doing?
I'm doing very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I'm really, really excited to talk to you today because you have a very unique perspective on the industry. And I get asked questions about this all the time. So I'm really, really excited to hear, straight from the horse's mouth, all about franchising in laundromats. So, but before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? And maybe how did you make your way to this strange industry?
Sure. I've been in and out of several industries my whole career, usually at a executive level. And I bought a franchise finally, about 15 years ago or so. And it was good for a few years. I got tired of it and sold it to one of the employees. Kind of slipped back into aerospace just to have something to do for a while. And after about 8 years of that 6-month contract, I had enough. I had to walk away so I started looking for another franchise. And laundromats weren't on the radar at all. And I was looking more at the construction products and finance products. That's more of what my background is, and running operations, running departments and things. So I was looking for something that had a few employees, not too many, and it was probably more in the financial area. But one of these franchise coaches found me and asked if they could interview me and propose some ideas that they might have. So I said, sure. I'm pretty much have my mind made up, but I don't mind looking at other things. So there was an interview process, and somehow one of the things on there was a laundromat. And my wife had asked me about owning a laundromat a few times in our 32, 34, whatever years of marriage. And I've always kind of didn't want to be a laundromat owner. I was, in industry, and I had pretty respectful positions and stuff. I didn't think that was a small business I wanted. But as luck would have it, I got into a pretty bad car accident a couple of years ago. So I had narrowed my search down about 4 or 5 items or companies, and I started really digging into them. And the more I dug into the laundromat business, I was doing research on the background. I wasn't doing any directly with WaveMAX chip, but I was looking into the industry itself. And I called pretty much every business that was for sale at that time, a couple of years ago, in Orange County and LA County around me to see if it would be something for me. And I discovered pretty quickly that if you're running it right, the margins are very high. And that was exciting because the margins were higher than, pretty much everything else. You could own 1 or 2 laundromats and make the amount of money you think you need to make, or you could have 7 or 8 subways. And that means lots of employees, lots of problems.
Lots of management. Yeah, lots of problems is right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of like this semi-absentee owner approach. So I started investigating laundromat franchises, only to find out there were 0. So I was interested in why all of a sudden there's a laundry franchise and there hadn't been before. That was my main probe next. And what I discovered was the reason there weren't franchises before is because it was a cash business. And cash businesses still make good franchises. You can't track the sales, and you can't be sure that all of the franchisees are going to report their sales accurately. So enter technology into the industry. Mm-hmm. It hasn't stopped since technology has hit this industry, and now we're seeing it the same way we're seeing technology in everything. So technology is what has made the WaveMAX be able to be a franchise. And I know there's a second one out there that might have a couple of stores open. I think that's it. I really don't know of any. There's a lot of folks that are trying to sell licenses or sell a process or something. But as far as a real franchise product that's well thought out and helps you from womb to tomb, there really aren't any choices out there besides WaveMAX. And so I went on the discovery day, and I met the owner, and I met the business development executive who had done several other franchises. So they had a decent track record. The CEO, Mike Roberts, he'd been in franchising for many years on the operation side of it. Mm-hmm. He decided to get out and open a laundromat for similar reasons, I guess. And 5 years into it, he said, we can franchise this. I know he came up with a proprietary way before technology to determine how much volume was going through the stores. So that's what they launched it on. But shortly after that, technology came into play, and you can just track everything now on it. So that's how I got into that's how I got started on it.
Very cool. Well, let me back you up for a second. You were looking at all kinds of different franchises before you found WaveMAX. So what is it about the franchise model in general, not specifically laundromats necessarily, but franchise model in general that attracted you?
Well, when you're starting a small business, you make a lot of mistakes at first. You got to learn. And having run operations for many years, I've found it's always easier to plagiarize than to invent. You can improve the process, and usually do improve the process, but it's always nice to let somebody else,
lay the groundwork for you.
Formula and make all the mistakes that you don't want to make yourself, that are so expensive to make.
Yeah.
There's nothing scientific about the laundry business, and you can call up any broker and get you started in it, but there's definitely advantages to doing it through a franchise that you can't realize on your own.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you're looking for different franchise through different franchise models. You stumble on laundromats, you start to dig in a little deeper, and because of, I'm assuming, injuries from the car wreck had kind of limited you, or is that?
Yeah, I was in a easy chair for about 6 months, so I had a lot of time to be on the phone and do internet searching and put spreadsheets together and pro formas and stuff. So it really got boiled down to two. And I honestly thought I was going the other direction. And then I met the owners of both great people. I connected better with the WaveMAX team, and I like the fact that you can run a laundromat with very few employees and of your own time if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
And the other one is going to be the opposite. A lot of employees, a lot of your time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a big part of the appeal of the industry in general is the good returns, the lack of, a lot of management. I mean, you still do have to obviously manage your business, but it's a lot less than normal regular businesses or other businesses, I should say. Yeah. So, wow. Okay. So you met the WaveMAX guys, and what was that process like once you decided, okay, I'm going to jump into owning a laundromat through this franchise? What is the process like?
It goes pretty fast. You go through the contracts and sign them, and you pay a franchise fee, and off you go. First thing you do is meet with the folks that are supposed to be coaching you. In my case, I bought an entire territory, so I bought all of Southern California. So I'll be the one helping develop that area for the company. And I liked it because it was a brand new concept, meaning franchises in laundromats or in the laundromat business. And Southern California has the most laundromats in the country.
Yeah. Prime territory there.
Or like I did, I was able to make a pretty decent deal to get in. And so So I thought I was just gonna, sit back and sell some franchises and let the checks roll in. But the more I got into it, the more I really realized this industry is changing, and I want to be part of the change. I think this industry needs to change. I think your open 24-hour, nobody there watching what's going on, dirty, unsecure laundromats are a thing of the past. They're all going out of business, every one of them. And what's coming in is more professionalism. It still can be mom and pop, but to survive now, you have to have a clean store. It has to feel safe. You have to have security. You have to have nice amenities inside the store or nice ambiance inside the store that it feels good, because your customers are going there and they're spending a couple hours out of their day, less now than they did before, but they're spending time out of their day to do their laundry every single week or every other week, and it should be a place that they look forward to coming to, not a place that they dread coming to. So our stores always have an attendant on duty. We have a fold and fluff service. We have a pickup and delivery service. And we have the self-service. They can come in and do their own laundry. We don't go overboard on vending machines and things like that. We have them in there for so folks can grab a beverage and a snack or whatever, play a game maybe. But it's not an arcade approach. It's a professional operation with uniformed employees and our return rate's very high at all of our stores that are open. We've sold 100 franchises so far. We've got 18 open for business. And we've got 22 or 23 currently in some stage of opening. We're opening one about every 4 weeks. And then we've got a backlog of about 60 right now that are, most of them are second and third stores that a franchisee has purchased. We got a couple of key markets that we're doing most of our testing in right now. And that's Phoenix market, Dallas market, Denver market, and Knoxville, Tennessee. We're doing some testing on the pickup and delivery business. And it's not like we're reinventing everything, but we're honing it and we're making it precise and profitable. And we're listening to the customer, giving the customer what the customer wants. And the customer's changing. It's evolving now just because of the drop-off business and because of the pickup and delivery business. We're seeing older folks and younger folks both coming into the mix now, where, in the past it was mostly the, 20-something through 40-something or so, and that was the big hunk of your business. But the youngest generations now, my kids included, they don't want to wash their clothes, so they call somebody up to come pick them up at their door, and bring them back folded, like mom used to do.
Exactly. Just replacing mom on that one. That's
just awesome. Replacing mom, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what the dynamic is now.
Yeah, I mean, you said so much in there that I think is so good. I just want to touch on a couple of things, and I have some follow-up questions for you. But I love the mindset of, hey, you can still be a mom and pop, but you got to up the level of professionalism. And I think that's the name of the game in the business right now, is upping that professionalism. I think the days of, getting a store and, basically letting it run itself and coming in and collecting quarters and basically running the machines into the ground and then trying to dump it, at the end. I think those days are quickly coming to a close. And, now if you're not reinvesting into your business, then your business is probably going to die. It's probably not going to survive. And that's what customers want too, right? And those big, nice new stores that are coming in everywhere, they're going to start taking all the business from the stores that don't up their professionalism, don't run it like a actual business. And so I love that you're saying that. I think that's one of the big recipes for success in our industry right now is up in that level of professionalism, keeping things clean, keeping things tidy, keeping machines running, and keeping customers happy. So I love that. You talked a lot about changes in the industry. Can you talk a little more specifically? I mean, you kind of mentioned technology changing. Are there any other changes, or what technology in particular are you seeing that's affecting?
Yeah, well, I think you can break the categories into a couple or three categories, I guess, if you want. Definitely technological advances for both the consumer and the owner. And then there's management aspects that benefit both the consumer and the owner. And then certainly there's the economic factor and environmental factor that affects everybody. So I'm not sure which to tackle, but I think the easiest might be the environmental.
Yeah.
So the newer machines run the cycle time is much smaller, much shorter cycle time. So that gets somebody in and out of the store very quickly. And the shorter cycle time uses less energy. So we're using less electricity, less water, less gas, and we're putting less polluted water, gray water down the sewer also. Mm-hmm. So those are all really positive, beneficial things that help both the consumer and the owner, as well as everybody. The environment, the community benefits from these more efficient machines. So I mean, they're getting to the point where you can literally do a double load or triple load in 20 minutes with some of our fastest machines. And we use Electrolux is the brand that we use exclusively. But you can get cycle times on a wash and the dry down to 20 minutes each. And so you can literally be sitting on your couch and then you got an hour break in your TV programming or whatever, and you can take technology, look on your smartphone, find out if the machine you like to use is free, and then head on down to the laundromat in 40 minutes without folding, and you're back home sitting on the couch folding your laundry while you're watching the show you want to watch anyway. So it's not the 3-hour visit to the laundromat anymore if your owners are keeping up on the technology, if they're putting in the new machines, and we're finding with our new stores that I'm not sure there's more people washing laundry, but they're migrating to the more efficient store that has a nicer ambiance, makes them feel better. Is well managed, those kind of things. They don't have to, if there's a problem, there's an attendant there to help them with it. They don't have to find a number on the wall, leave a message, and get their quarters back someday. It's taken care of right away. Another way technology is really making it better for the consumer. Aside from the smart apps that you can download on your phone, They tell you when your laundry is done. So you can put your laundry in and go to the bookstore next door or go to the bar next door. I don't know, judgy, but whatever you want to do. And then it'll tell you when your load's done. You come back and you've got that. Also for the owners, it helps out because I can literally look on a phone and I could be across the street or across the country. My employees don't know where I'm at, but I can tell what's going on every single machine in that store. And I have video camera also. So so I know what's going on in the store. So as an owner, you can literally run your store from your phone anywhere that you want to run it. And if you're app-based only, you're not even in there every other day collecting coins or moving coins around, So so there's a lot of advantages to the newer technology with regard to that. So you've got reduced cycle times. You've got the app base that you can do. You can pay with the app. You can manage with the app. You can run reports with the apps. The machines tell you every single penny that goes through that thing and every single refund that's issued by the machine, and it tells you when it's down. It tells you when it needs maintenance. It's a heck of a lot easier than calling out the repair guy and having him look at your machine for half an hour. Tell you, it needs the $1,000 bearing, which you were hoping wasn't going to be So, and then there's a waiting list for it. So the technology is just really changing the industry a lot.
Yeah, I see that. That's huge. We just had Thomas Landenberger on, an episode or two ago, and he's in Italy he lives in Tuscany, in the Tuscan countryside with a laundromat in Florida. And, it's incredible what technology allows you to do these days. And I think that it's about time that our industry is catching up on that technology and starting to utilize it. But it really does open up a lot of exciting opportunities, for us.
Yeah, I use my phone probably 90% of the time and the computer probably 10% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly use the computer when I want to have a bigger screen for a presentation or something like that. But outside of that, you can literally do it all with the phone.
Yeah.
Crazy. So.
Well, you mentioned just brief. You mentioned economic change. Do you want to touch on that at all?
Sure. Well, from a franchise standpoint, you or I, any of us that wants to open up a laundromat, we can call the local distributor and they'll take a meeting with us and we'll show them the store we have, and then they'll decide how much equipment needs to go in there. And what I found is usually they help you just pack it full of equipment. That's not really what the customer wants. It's not really in your best interest. But to be blunt, they get compensated by selling equipment.
Right. It's how they make their money.
You have an extra 5 machines. They fit. Looks decent in there, but you probably don't need those extra 5 machines or what have you. So in our franchise, we look at demographics and some algorithms that we have, and we use that to determine, based on the population and the car count and a few other things that we use that we don't disclose, that to determine how many machines we really need in there. So if it's a 30 by 30 or a 30-30 store, 30 washers, 30 dryers, typically in that store, you could probably fit 35, 37 washers and dryers. We don't do it. We give a little space more to folding, and we don't worry about machine turns on the machine. That's what they're always trying to sell you, machine turns. When you finance this, machine turns. We don't really care. Nobody should care about what the machine turns are. What you should care about is your customer count growing? And are you providing a good enough service to grow your customer count? But back to the money part, any of us can go out there, we can meet with a dealer and we can negotiate a discount with them, and they may give us a 10 or 15 or 20% off depending on how many we buy. And that sounds like a good deal because these are expensive. Right? Mm-hmm. Outfit a store is $500,000 worth of machines. That's a lot of money. But with our franchise, we get a gigantic discount, north of 40%, and no broker can touch that at all. So right out of the gate, we're saving tens of thousands of more dollars than anybody else has. And our franchise can be financed up to 80%. So you're really coming out of pocket with much less than you typically do when you're working directly with a broker. And then our store design is relatively standardized. So we have a designer layout that lays out the layout for you and the machine count and whatnot. And then we turn over to a number of different architects that have the WaveMAX feel down pretty well. And we have some very good looking stores, the newer ones. Each store, I think, looks better than the last one because there's just something little more that we decided to add that we didn't have in the last store. And they really help a lot. And they look inviting and they feel safe when you go into them. So you save money on the design, you save money on the build out. The whole thing is financed. If you choose the right machines, which we do, that's part of our package, then you're saving a lot of money just in utility bills. Shorter cycle times. The machines are smart enough now to detect what the size of the load is and use the right amount of water, use the right amount of spin. Washing machines actually do part of the drying process in the machine because using the right amount of water when they go through the spin, they can be, lightly damp instead of wet. And then you throw them in the dryer time is much less also. So the machines these days, they have a lot of technology in them to help assist manage the energy and the time. And those are important on several different levels to everybody.
Yeah, I think that's well put, and it's really a good explanation of what how it benefits you to buy a franchise as opposed to kind of doing it on its own. Because I think that's one of the big questions I get a lot. I see it on different forums a lot. Is why go with the franchise model and not just do it on your own?
I'm guilty of it.
Yeah,
I'm guilty of it myself. I thought I could. I was a professional procurement person for many years, decades, and I know how to buy right. I know how to negotiate. I can get as good a deal as anybody can. It's not true. You can't, because I'm not buying 2,000 washing machines this month. I'm buying 30.
Yeah.
The manufacturer's not going to give me the same discount. As a company that's bringing them hundreds and hundreds of washers a month as opposed to 30.
30. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think the bulk discount is one, and you've mentioned already kind of throughout just the different systems that you guys, WaveMAX has in place and how those kind of continue to get better because it's not a single operator, tinkering with their system. It's multiple operators tinkering with their systems, and everybody kind of benefits from that. I'm assuming. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's a good point. I probably should have brought it up with one of the reasons I like franchises. And I discovered this when I owned my last franchise. The entrepreneur, the Mike Roberts, he had a great concept and he put it in place, and we follow the basic rules on it. But we're continually improving the product, and we're doing it because all of the area reps, like myself, they used to be called master franchisees, but
that's a nice title.
Yeah, that's kind of gone away now. At least in California, you're not even allowed to call it that anymore in your FTD. But the other area reps, they're like-minded. They had a career and were successful in it, and we have some that specialized in advertising and some in development and some in marketing. And we get together every couple of weeks and we talk about what went well, what went wrong, and what we'd like to see improve every couple of weeks. And I'd say probably in the last year, every single thing we have changed have come from that group of folks saying we'd like to see this change, presenting it to to the ownership. And I outside of a little coaching here and there, I can't think of anything that they really didn't accept, and for good reason, because we've got a lot of talent in the area rep pool that has a lot of great ideas. They come from a lot of great companies that taught them how to manage well and how to operate well. And we don't forget the stuff. You bring it with you when you come
right
franchise, and then you share with other franchisees. So the camaraderie between owners is really, really important. And we do the same thing for franchisees. We have a franchisee call once a month. And so any of the franchisees that are not area reps can get on a call and ask the same kind of questions. And if you have a stumbling block or a question or a situation, put it on our chat line, and somebody has the answer for you. It's right there. You don't have to figure it out yourself. So it's a huge benefit of franchising.
Yeah. Well, can you do this for me if you would? Let's say that I am in the market for a laundromat and I'm interested in buying a franchise. What's that? Can you walk me through that process of, what is going to happen? What do I need to do? What do you guys do to get me from, hey, I'm interested, to, okay, I'm a franchisee and I'm throwing open the doors to my WaveMAX laundromat?
It's a relatively straightforward, simple process, but the first thing we do is we share with you what the real costs are that are associated with it. One of the brokers that I was dealing with originally myself, before I made the call, was they were kind of just, I wasn't understanding what the full amount of expenses were that I was going to have to come up with. And so they just kind of give you the information you need to know to keep you on the hook. We don't do that. We're more all up front. We'll tell you right up front, your franchise fee is for your first store is going to be $50,000. You're going to need another $150,000 in real cash that you're going to have to spend to get your store and your equipment and get running and be able to operate for the first, for the first 3 months or so. And we tell them up front. And then we also say, you can't open a store for $200. You can open a store for $900 or $750, or depending on where you're at and how much your rent is and stuff like that. But $750 is probably $800 probably what it costs in Southern California to open up a franchise and have a nice build out and have the security you need, have the right mix of machines, and the financing that we have in place to be able to do that. So if you have the half of that, you're not going to be able to open the store. When we try to be upfront with everybody and let them know. So we work on the finance part of it first. And for me, that was a little frustrating because, I kind of had this idea of how much money I wanted to throw into it. But then there was the hidden thing I never even knew about until I bought this franchise, which was my 401k from my company that I had worked at in aerospace. I was able to use that money to buy my franchise. So rather than finance, I was able to pay cash or pay it with my 401k through Rob's program. But WaveMAX helped walk me through that process also. They hooked me up with a vendor, Guidant Financial, that helps you with the Rob's process. And don't ask me what Rob stands for, but it has to do with your rollover, turning it into a business.
Yep.
Or a business, basically. So your 401k goes from the stocks that you were using and going up and down every year and never really increasing at a great rate, just kind of moseying along, to you turn it into a laundromat, and whatever profit margin you can maintain, 20%, 30%, 40%, your ROI is high, way higher than you were getting with your 401k.
Yeah, with your mutual fund or your index.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
So we're upfront about people about that, and then we pretty much open our kimono to use a cliche, and we let them ask any question they want. They can call any franchisee they want, and every franchisee pretty much will talk to them. I haven't heard of one that wouldn't. If they're still interested in going forward after, they usually have a talk kind of like we're having today, and they ask all these kind of questions. But if they're still interested in going forward, then we send them the FDD for their state and a franchise disclosure document for their state. And then we give them a couple of weeks to read through it thoroughly, and then we put them online with our biz dev executive, and he answers every single question for them. We give them a copy of the contract up front too, so there's no surprises, so they can see everything in one package. They answer all the questions, and then if they want to move forward, we schedule a discovery day where we actually show them some stores. We have some of our preferred vendors come in and make a presentation. And they're usually very interested in how you launch the advertising campaign and how much does it cost, and you make money right away and things like that. So all that stuff comes out in Discovery Day. And we have, if they go to Discovery Day, we usually have a pretty good close rate. People are pretty interested in the product after that because our franchisees are very nice. The owners are great. If there's something important to you, they let you add it to the contract or take it out of the contract within reason. It's just very comfortable, friendly, family kind of feeling. And I think my stress level in the last 2 years has gone to like 0 from.
Well, say no more. I mean, it's just won us all over right there.
Yeah. So, you're your own boss. They have a procedure. You follow procedure, you make money. You don't follow the procedure, you don't make money. It's like everything else. The franchise fee hasn't got a bunch of extra stuff all buried in it. 6%. They don't grab a bunch of other things and throw it in there. Some of the franchises I looked at was a 7% franchise fee and 1% more for national advertising, and then you had to join your local co-op advertising. And by the time you're done, one of the companies I looked at as a new owner, brand name company, I was going to have to spend $50,000 my first year because of the market I'm in, just for advertising, because I had to join the pool. And the pool here in Southern California uses television. And so, I had to pay my equal share of that. And that's a lot of money for, first year franchisee to suck up. Yeah. And our company, the initial package actually comes from the manufacturer because WaveMAX gets a rebate based on the amount of sales that we do. And WaveMAX could keep the money if they wanted to at corporate, but they don't. They hand 100% of it over to the franchise advertising company that we use. And that company puts that money toward their launch campaign. So instead of spending $50,000 the first year, people spend $4,000 or $5,000. It's a huge difference and
more palatable.
And they hit the ground running with customers that come back.
Right.
Oh.
So after that discovery day, is that like, okay, full steam ahead?
We used to fly out to the corporate office in Florida for it, but with COVID here, we've been doing it. Same way you and I are talking today, so we've been doing a virtual one. Mm-hmm. And I attended my first virtual one last week, and it was very good. I was impressed. It was actually much better than what I had gone through face to face out there. But
technology again.
I know. It's all around it. You can't escape it. I'd like to be a mountain man just stuck up there and land, but you can't escape it if you're not in the mountains. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Or
just embrace it.
deserted. I don't know, but at any rate, yeah, it's all around us, and it was a very good presentation, and we had really great feedback from it. Because we had the advertising vendor was there, the equipment vendor was there, the construction vendor was there. So we had folks talk about how you find your location, the right location, things like that. So it answers the questions that people have, and a very good presentation. And we're not a hard push sales company. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, and you've made it that far, chances are you want to finish it up. And finishing it up from there is really meeting with the executives and having them answer any last questions you might have, and then signing the contract. And then your area rep takes over with you, and first thing you do is go look for property.
So are you guys building from the ground up? Are you taking over existing ones and overhauling them, or how are you doing that? Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Pretty much any way that you can think of. I prefer to take over existing laundromats or ones that have been, but I do that mainly because of what the conditions are in California for me, and it's usually environmental related or governmental related. So a lot of cities in Southern California have impact fees that they require you to pay per machine because you're going to be dumping a lot of gray water into the system. And our stores go through about 180,000 gallons a month for a 30-30 store. So there's a lot of water going in. It's less water than the equivalent number of households would be dumping in because they don't have as efficient machines by any stretch. Mm-hmm. And the cycle times are much longer. And they tend to do more loads at homes, more smaller loads than doing one or two loads at a laundromat. So, yeah. Can you give us a little, just like maybe like a general glimpse of any kind of like systems that are in place for the franchisee, to kind of help them either manage their business or even kind of build their business? Or I just know that systems are a big reason that people get into franchises because, like you said, those are all in place and they've already made the mistakes and they've created these systems in order to eliminate those mistakes for the franchisees and kind of fast track everybody. Can you give us like a little glimpse?
I probably glaze over that, but every step of the way is documented. So you look for real estate. WaveMAX will help you negotiate the lease with the landlord if you want them to. We've got in-house legal representation that you're welcome to talk to if you want, or you can use your own. And you get the lease signed, and then first thing you do is you meet with the city, make sure that you usually have a grace period in your lease, but you make sure that the city doesn't have any issues that you haven't already discovered, and make sure you can go forward with it. And then the next thing we do is we have if there isn't a set of as-builts already done, we have a set of as-builts created and hand that over to the design team so they can do the layout. And then from the layout, we get the equipment specs, and we hand that over to the architect who puts the WaveMAX flavor on it. And all these steps, you could use your own people if you wanted to, or you could use, the company's arrangements that they have. Usually the company arrangements are a pretty good deal because of the volume. Mm-hmm. So, and then from designer, we hire a general contractor. We break ground. It takes about 3 months of construction to to get it if it was not an existing laundromat. If it was an existing laundromat, it can cut 60 days out of that. And the reason being is the utility requirements, right? So unless it was a laundromat before, it's not going to have a 2-inch water line coming in or a 3-inch line coming in, depending on how many machines you have that you need to handle. It's not going to have, with that many machines, we prefer a 3-phase 400 amp panel. Usually that doesn't exist. And then the gas is not that big of a deal because we use tankless water heaters, which a lot of laundromats do not do that. But they're very efficient and satisfactory. We have a 2-unit system to heat the water. So bringing all the utilities in is expensive. If it was a laundromat, there's no cost to bringing the utilities in. They're already there. And we verify that up front. And when I say it's expensive, we've had quotes as high as $200,000 to bring a water pipe in, right? We've had...
Maybe we're in the wrong business. We should be bringing water lines in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Usually it's around 25, 30, but even that's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you have the land, I've explored using using holding tanks instead, so I could trickle feed the tanks overnight with just a regular commercial water line, and then I don't have to worry about bringing that in. So we distribute. And we have a relationship with a distributor of tanks also, so we can do that approach. And then so the water one's usually the most expensive one. The second one is usually the impact fees, and all over the country they charge impact fees. Some of them are as high as $6,000 per washer for impact fees.
Insanity.
Typically it's 1,000-ish, but that's a lot of money that you're kicking out. If you go with an existing laundromat, those fees are already paid. You're just taking over laundromat and you're upgrading the equipment. So you can usually avoid all those costs. We have had success in one of the cities in Michigan, I believe it was, that they wanted to charge a very high fee for it being a new store, the impact fees. But we were able to demonstrate that the machines that we use significantly less water than the previous generation of machines. And we were able to get a pretty decent reduction in the impact fee based on presenting that analysis. But without the help of the manufacturer, we wouldn't have been able to put that together. They had a lot of data we needed to generate. So anyway, so you have your impact fees, you have your built, and then you finally get built out, and then you have a soft launch with your friends and family, and you put signs up and say we're opened, and folks will mosey on in. And then we have the grand opening about a week after that. We make sure everybody's trained right. We make sure we have all the kinks out of the operation itself, and everybody got trained adequately. And then we have the grand opening with, balloons and banners and food, and we make a big deal out of it, and coupons, and the neighborhood usually reacts very favorably to the grand opening, and we keep quite a large number of the folks that attended it come back. The return rate's very high on the grand opening. So usually our stores, since a year ago, October, it's been 1 year now. So for the last year, our stores have been launching their grand openings and hitting the ground running on day one with profitability, not running in the red. Attribute it to a great marketing program, to good training and friendly people, and welcoming environment, and treat people like you want to be treated, and they'll want to do business with you.
Yep. I mean, it seems like that's the recipe for success, in this business and probably in most businesses. And it's as simple as that, but it's also easier said than done, and I think I can see where the value would come from in a franchise model of having, good training already in place and ways to implement that in the most effective ways, and how that could, kind of shortcut your time to profitability and to having a good experience. Cause, profitability is one thing, but if you're hating it, sometimes it doesn't matter how profitable you are, it's not fun. You don't want to do it for long. So.
And we send our trainers to your store. You train in your own store. You don't go to a training center. And if the trainer sees kinks in the process, they help you work it out right there. But it shouldn't be too bad, because we've been holding the franchisee's hand as much as they want throughout the entire process.
Cool. I love that. I have a couple other questions. You mentioned a couple of times financing. Do you guys do financing through a third-party lender? Is it part of WaveMAX? How does that work?
It's through the manufacturer themselves.
Okay.
And the reason they do it is because they help us finance the equipment and the build out and operating capital for the first 3 months. And the reason they do that, and they've just upped the percentage up to 80% now, and sometimes higher if you're on the second or third store. But the reason they do that is because we've got a track record of success now. So they haven't lost any money on us, and we pay a fair rate, but we get very good financing, and they walk us through the process and the whole bit. I don't want to make it sound like you can't get financing from your distributor, because distributors offer financing most of the time. It's just that you have to finance more, because the discounts you get are bear with me 1 second here. The discounts you get are not as lucrative as they are with the deals that we have in place for franchising.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, I like that, going direct kind of to the source and getting your financing there. Let me ask you this. Who's a good candidate for a franchise? There's lots of kinds of people I talk to, and I feel like I have a decent idea of who's a good candidate, but maybe you could spell it out for me. Who's a good candidate for this franchise model?
I don't know. I think people in laundromats, they are like every reason you can imagine, but most of them want to have a better quality of life, because you don't have to live at your company 24/7 or 10 hours a day or whatever. I mean, it's literally a couple hours of work, if that's as little as you want to do, and you can have a very successful laundromat doing that. You got to keep an eye on everything. You have to make sure it's neat and clean. You got to make sure it's safe. You got to make sure your equipment doesn't have out of order signs on it, and things like that. But it's just kind of like common sense as to how to run it. And anybody that wants to have a better quality life, I think, is a good candidate for this. Sadly, you have to have some money to do it. But
you threw at that $200,000
reasonable amount.
You threw at that $200,000 figure earlier. Was that a general number? Is that what you need?
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard and fast. It's based on one component is the franchise fee. So with WaveMAX, if you buy one store, it's $49.95, I think, $49,995. If you buy two, the second one is half price, and if you buy three, the third one is $19,000, and that's the price for the fee from there out. A lot of that goes to the broker that introduced you to the system, and then the rest of it is actually use to help you get up and running. We use it for travel, we use it for setting up meetings, we use it for just helping you. So there isn't really anything left out of that when we're done.
Yeah, you're running the business. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets pretty well consumed. But then the rest of it, the second component is the 20% of what it costs to build out the design that you signed off on. So if you did a gigantic store, it might be $1 million loan. You may need $250,000. If it's like a 30-30, it's probably going to, your build out and operating capital is probably going to come in around 700, 800. So you need to have that other 20% there. And then you have to have some to run your advertising and some to pay your employees for the first 3 months while you're becoming self-sufficient. And that number of the 3 months has really been shrinking. We're really closer to a month now if people follow the rules. So
nice.
We do the right amount of advertising to get the volume up to be able to hit black faster than not.
That's the goal. What about somebody who's working a full-time job? I mean, I talk to a lot of, doctors, dentists, engineers, software engineers, who don't necessarily want to quit their jobs, but they also want to have something going on the side, especially now as, things are just uncertain. It's nice to have, your own thing going because nobody knows what's happening with the world right now. Right. So, is that a good candidate if they have a full-time job?
No, we cater to that. If somebody wants to put no time in, there's a way to do it. If they just want to put money in, there's a way to do it. We do have one professional group out of the North Midwest, I guess is the best way to put it. It's basically a syndicated group that has a chunk of money, and they're a group of doctors, and they don't want to manage it or build it or anything else. So we put a manager in place for them, and that person is helping them get the first store up and the second store started already. So yeah, there are ways to do it without leaving your job at all. But most of our folks that are going to keep a job, and which is most of the folks, they put in 2 hours, 3 hours every other day. So 8 hours a week, 10 hours a week can easily be done, and most of that time is spent just reading your reports, making sure that the cash is flowing and folks are showing up on time, and you got your scheduling up, and moving your quarters around, pull them out of the machine, put them back in the change maker. That's it. That's pretty much that easy. So any level of participation you want to have, we can make it for you. The more you participate, the more you make. The less you participate, the more you have to pay somebody else to help you out.
Right.
It's a give and take. But even if you only want to work 8 hours a week on it, you can still make a really nice return on your investment.
Awesome. Well, I know there's implications on financing, but does WaveMAX have any experience requirements, credit requirements, any other requirements of prospective owners?
Well, from a financial standpoint, you have to have the cash, and you have to be able to qualify for financing. If you're going to go the financing route.
Right.
If you're going to do it all cash, you don't need to, qualify. From an experience standpoint, it's almost better you don't have experience running a laundromat, because if you had experience running a laundromat and you were great at it already and you knew all the ins and outs, unless you were just buying the franchise because of the deep discounts we get, which is a great reason to buy it. But if that's the only reason you're buying it, then you probably don't know how to run it. So yeah. So and if we have people that come in with no laundromat experience, myself included, I don't bring any bad habits with me. I don't want my store open 24 hours because I've been in stores that are open 24 hours and some of them work, but most of them, they don't seem to work to me. Mm-hmm. I go in hundreds of stores every month, checking out the competition and seeing if, honestly, I go into the competition to see if I can take their customers from them. Mm-hmm. Because if there's not an attendant there and if it's dirty or there's a bunch of out of order signs on machines, I know I get their customers. We just, people would rather go to where service is better than where it's not.
Totally. Absolutely. Well, we have a couple little segments on the podcast. One of them is called the secret sauce.
Listen up, it's the secret sauce.
I was wondering if you share something that you think, maybe if you have one tip that's making your franchisees successful.
I think in this business, whether it's a franchise or not, the secret sauce is customer service and just provide a level of customer service that nobody's seen in this industry, and you'll be ahead of the game. And if you can afford to keep up with the technology, you got a home run.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. I think that's great secret sauce. And I think, it's kind of been a running theme throughout this whole interview of that customer service being that secret sauce and being just so vital, to you, not only, maintaining your customer base, but growing your customer base as well as, operators around you aren't operating at the same level of professionalism like we were talking about. So awesome secret sauce. I got another section we call pro tips.
Pro tips.
And pro tips is for the newbie, the person who maybe doesn't own one yet, who's maybe looking to buy their first one. You got any good tips for them? Besides, I think the best pro tip, right, is, hey, give you a call, talk to WaveMAX.
Well, no, I'm not, like I said, we're not a hard sell. If the franchise sounded good to you, go to wavemaxlaundry.com and find the phone number of whoever's nearest you and talk to them. But if it's not, the secret sauce in this business is the right location. No matter what, the hot tip is get the right location, and don't talk yourself into something being a good location because it's available. Get a good location based on whatever intelligence you can dig up to determine that's a good location.
Awesome pro tip. Yeah. And if you're looking for more resources on good location, there's tons out there. Go check out in the forums. We have a blog post a while back on good locations. There's a lot of resources out there for good locations. So if that's you, if you're new and you're looking maybe to buy your first one, check out a good location. I think that's a great pro tip because you can't really move your location. So if you buy in a bad location, you're in a world of hurt. It's tough to recover from that one. Do you have any, you may not, but we are a laundromat resource after all. Do you have any resources that you'd recommend, for owners, either to grow their business or to grow themselves personally?
Well, what was probably the biggest help for me to get into the business was talking to people that were selling their companies. And there were the very expensive ones and there were the very cheap ones. The very cheap ones you could tell were the ones going out of business. No matter what the price was, if it's under $150,000, that store's going out of business. Because the successful store is not going to sell it to you for that price with the equipment. But then there's the very expensive ones, usually over $1 million. And they spent their $800,000, $900,000 to get all their equipment and get it built out. And they got good clientele and it's up and running and they got numbers to support the ridiculous price they're asking. I wouldn't buy either one of those personally, but I would look at the ones that are going out of business to see if you could pick up their lease or make a deal with them, for leasing their equipment or something. Mm-hmm. and you can get your foot in the door that way while you're building it out. You can, have a little bit of business, maybe drop off service or something to get it going.
Yeah. Awesome resource.
There's great information on laundromats in Google, in video,
YouTube.
YouTube. There's so many good clips. Your stuff. I mean, there's some really good information out there for people that want to help other people succeed. And there's enough business that if you're going to do good business, there's enough opportunity out there that you can. I don't know if it'll be that way forever. And I think we'll probably see a lot more franchises come into this industry in the next 5 years because you can manage it like a professional company now. So, look at everything that's available to you. Save as much money as you can, because the more you save going in, the easier it's going to be to have a nice return on your investment.
Awesome advice. Well, Jim, this has been really awesome. I get asked all the time about franchise model, and people want to know, if it's something that they should look into or not. And this has been helpful for me to kind of understand, what's happening in the industry, franchise wise. And it's really, really intriguing. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of technology that really makes it a viable option for the right person. And so appreciate you coming on. One more quick question for you. If people are listening to this and they have questions that they want to ask you, or they want to get in contact with you somehow, is there a good way to do that?
I love talking about this topic, and I do it every day, usually with folks interested in joining us, but I don't mind answering anybody's question. If they want to get a hold of me on my email address is JimW at wavemaxlaundry.com. So
all right.
if they get a hold of me, they're welcome to do that. And if I'm not in their area, I'll still answer their questions, and then I'll refer them to the person that can help them more than I can in our company in their area. But anybody has a question about laundry, I love talking about this because it's going to continue to grow. The technology is great. Some of the things I couldn't tell you about, but I will shortly, are going to blow your mind in this industry. And I'm just trying to get vendors in place so that we can do some beta testing. But
that sounds like a teaser. That means we need to have you back on.
It's a teaser. I'm telling you, this industry is going to be on fire in the next 5 years.
Awesome. Well, it's an exciting place to be. And I will link to WaveMAX, his website, and I'll put your email. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll be down in the description and links to everything. And if you're listening on the podcast, check the show notes for the email address and the links to everything, including WaveMAX's website. Jim, thank you so much again for coming on. Brought so much value and so much information and insight into this industry. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
I love doing it. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right.
Man, Jim was so awesome. I love his mindset. I love his willingness to just share what he knows, to share the information he has. I loved that he was just, he's just giving. He said he just loves to talk to people about this stuff and was super willing to do that. So if franchising Laundromat is something that you're interested in doing, make sure that you shoot him an email and connect up with him, because he is an awesome resource for you. Even if you're not sure, man, talk with him. He's not hard selling you on anything. So go talk with him. It's not going to hurt. But super awesome episode. I loved what he was saying, particularly about the technology stuff. That stuff is very intriguing to me right now, and seeing where our industry is going. Technology technology wise, but there was so much. I took a full page of notes from just all the things that he was saying. So much cool stuff going on there. And I just want to remind you, like I do every week, make sure you pick at least one thing, put it into action in your business or in your life this week. Because as we start to stack these things up every episode and we're learning from these successful people, and we're implementing what they're doing, we're going to be more successful also. And we're also going to be able to help more people along the way. So make sure you're doing that. So excited that you're here. So excited for everything that's going on right now with Laundromat Resource. Hope that your business is doing awesome and can't wait to see you again next week. Peace.